Hi, I'm Tycho, the Child of Chaos, and this is Mubin.
Hey.
And we are here to give our impressions of this brand new, amazing Tyranid Codex!
So shiny
The
and new.
first Codex in 10th edition. So Tyranids are hot out of the gate. First off, the core of it hasn't changed much. The data sheets are largely the same.
Some minor tweaks here or there, nothing really major.
There's a couple new additions.
There's a lot of new additions.
Yeah, so we'll talk about those.
Yeah.
But what you know and love about your Tyranid army is still there.
Shadows in the Warp, still there.
Still works the
Synapse, still the same.
Still the same 3d6.
You even get the invasion fleet.
I passed.
Yay!
Speaking of passing, this is way more than passing. Baron of Dice, we use Baron of Dice in nearly all of our videos, sent us these awesome dice trays and Tyranid dice.
Tyranid dice.
They
We have
got
other
little
faction dice too.
dog faces on them.
Yep, my infamous Thousand Sun dice.
How'd they do
multiple
for
times.
you?
They've been doing really well. I think I've been banned from using them on the channel.
Oh no, that well.
Especially against Nick.
Oh, well, Nick likes to ban things.
Actually, horrible things.
These particular Tyranid dice did just fine for me recently.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah,
It's probably because they match.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, exactly. It always helps when your army matches. Baron of Dice sponsored this video, and you can get your own Baron of Dice in the link in the description below. Check them out. Baron of Dice sells amazing dice for nearly every faction of nearly every game that we've come across. We've got some recent Star Wars Legion dice in. They're really cool.
I think there's some Middle Earth ones too.
You'll be very satisfied with the amazing cubes of chaos found at Baron of Dice. Big, beautiful new codex. Mubin, what are your first impressions?
I like it.
You like
It's
it?
good,
Yes.
it's fluffy, it's fun, it's flavorful, and that's all the things that Tyranids love.
Multiple claws up.
Multiple claws up.
And a
don't
tentacle
have
too?
enough. Multiple tentacles apparently too.
Ooh, excellent.
Yeah.
It's a big glow up.
It's definitely a glow up. It seems very flavorful, very balanced, and the detachments don't disappoint. There's a play style for everybody. Every type of army that you can think of wanting to field with Tyranids, it's in that book.
And they're all unique and different without seeming like totally skewed in power.
You've still got your same old Synapse rules. You've got your Shadows in the Warp.
Yep.
Nothing's changed there.
So those are the army rules that you get whenever you play Tyranids. You're gonna have
It's
Shadows
just
in the
there.
Warp to battle shock the whole field, and Synapse, which means that you won't be battle shocked as easily.
We still have the good old familiar invasion fleet that we got with the Index.
So that's
still
your detachment, what you add to your army rule to make an army.
basically add flavor to the models that you're bringing to the table.
And so far, we've just had the one detachment invasion fleet, which allowed you to choose a different adaptation to start the battle with, to fight against infantry, against monsters or vehicles, or against characters. Which was always fun. It allows you to be really dynamic and base your army's bonus upon what you're facing right before the battle, which is a pretty cool trick. But now they have five new tricks.
It's so good. Me personally, I like running big hulking monsters all the time, and we've got the good old Crusher Stampede, which is all about running big bugs, getting them hit, and getting them angry.
Indeed. So how does that work?
Any monster unit that you have in your army in a Crusher Stampede detachment, if they take damage, they get +1 to hit. If they get below half strength, they get +1 to wound as well.
Ooh, so that's a big lot of bonuses that can happen all over your army if you're running a lot of monsters.
Oh, yeah.
And that means if you have like Carnifexes, all with Death Spitters, normally they hit on 4s.
Yeah.
Poo, 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 poo. But as soon as you've winged one of them,
All of a sudden now they're going to 3s.
they're angry.
They're angry.
So as soon as you're down to 1 Carnifex, now he's +1 to wound.
Oh yeah, he's +1 to hit, +1 to wound. He's super angry, and he's just going to go on a rampage.
And this is all weapons, both melee and in range,
Yep.
which is big. Because some of the monstrous guns in this book are
They're monstrous. They're monstrous.
Tyrannifexes, oh yes.
Oh, Tyrannifexes are so good now.
Yes.
But again, going back to the Crusher Stampede,
yeah.
it's nice because they've got its own flavorful detachment ability, but then it also comes with its own unique enhancements and its own unique stratagems.
Right.
That make you feel like you're playing a big horde of monsters.
Yeah.
Right? It's a Stampede.
So like Savage Roar and Massive Impact, now you get Tank Shock for your bugs.
Right? That was one thing I was missing for the bugs since we got Tank Shock. I'm like, I can't Tank Shock things. Like, but I want to run into things really hard.
Belly Splash.
Yeah. Now you can body slam into things.
Yes. Any of the enhancements that jump out at you?
For me, it has to be Enraged Reserves. So you can give this to a monstrous character, and on a 3-up, stand back up, fight, and then go out with a bang.
Nice. Actually, specifically, Corrosive Viscera, nice 1 CP stratagem. He goes pop for 1 command point, automatically explodes. Nick's gonna love that, especially when it goes off in his face.
Nick approved.
Nick approved.
What about you, Tycho? What detachment spoke to you?
Well, there was a couple of detachments that jumped out at me. The first one is probably the Vanguard Onslaught.
Ooh.
So Vanguard Onslaught is a lot of the sneaky bugs, Lictors, and Von Ryan's Leapers,
And Death Leaper himself.
Death Leaper himself, which gets a really cool rule in this, where he can now lose his inability to become Warlord and become a Warlord. So I had to try that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, putting Death Leaper at the front of the forces was pretty fun. So they've got a lot of really cool repositioning abilities. The actual detachment rule allows you to fall back and charge.
Okay.
With your entire army, which is very powerful. And if you have the Vanguard Invader keyword, you can actually advance and charge. And guess what has the Vanguard Invader keyword?
Just about all the sneaky things?
Sneaky things and Gene Stealers. So one of the big problems I've had with Tyranid Gene Stealers is they couldn't advance charge, and it's back, baby. So yeah, that's going to be really cool. You're going to get your Gene Stealers across the map in record time, not only scouting, but they get to advance charge and move 8, and that's just a lot of ground they can cover.
There's a lot of bugs across the map really quickly. I wouldn't want to be on the other side of the table.
Also, they have a lot of strikes first built in. All the Lictors, all the Von Ryans strike first. And because they're infiltrators, they deploy in the middle of the map. Meaning that you can just sort of start in the middle of the map, and if the enemy charges you, you fight before they do. Which can come up really big. You can pull down a lot of models before they have a chance to hit you. Well, the Flyers are both Vanguard Onslaught. They could
Zoom.
So they can go move 20 inches, advance, and charge. Round 1.
That's terrifying. And I like it.
Oh, sorry. So lots of really cool play there. Lots of really great abilities to play the mission. So they have the ability to pick up units and put them into reserves. They have the ability to move when enemies move near them. They can change what turn it is for their deep strike. So they can actually deep strike turn 1 with regular deep strikers. So they have a lot of ways that if they pull the wrong tactical card, that they can actually score those points. So I think that the Vanguard Onslaught is going to be really interesting to play and play against as a scoring type list. They do damage, but really what they're amazing at is being able to get where they need to go to score those big points.
Nice. Very thematic, very flavorful for your enhancements and your stratagems.
Yeah. Chameleonic, Stalker, Neuro Node. Actually, one of my favorites for the enhancements on the Vanguard Onslaught is the Hunting Grounds enhancements. So what this does is on a 2-up, whenever an enemy unit is deployed from reserves, they have to take a battle shock test.
Ooh, no shenanigans.
No shenanigans, or at least a lot less, and a lot more battle shock. And the Neuro Lictor and Death Leaper
forcing out a lot of battle shocks.
Right.
And being terrifying like they should
exactly
be.
Bonuses during battle shock and stuff.
Very
and actually,
nice.
that's one of the new models, is the Neuro Lictor. We'll get to those in just a sec. We're going to finish off these detachments here. So next, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the Assimilation Swarm, or?
Oh, for me, the next one has to be the Synaptic Nexus.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because while I do like my big bugs, I also love running a lot of Synapse units.
You like the Zoanthropes and the Malanthrope.
My warriors, the Malanthrope, or no, sorry, the Malceptor. Like, so many Synaptic bugs, and the new Norn bugs.
The Norns, they're all
They're
Synapse
both
creatures.
Synapse too.
Yep.
Fantastic rules, and again, it's just staying in true flavorful fashion. You're focusing around being in Synapse, boosting your Synapse, and taking advantage of your Synapse creatures.
Right. Their Synaptic Imperative detachment rule is they get to pick. Is it before the battle, or is it each
No,
turn?
it's every battle round. There's 3 options, and you can only pick it once per game. They've got something similar to Space Marine Doctrines, where at the start of the battle round, you can pick what kind of bonus you can give your army. You can give them invul, you can give them +1 to hit in melee, or give them better advance and charge rolls. So you pick and choose, but it's only once per battle. But there's a sneaky little stratagem in there for 1 CP, which lets you do it again, even if it's already been used.
Nice. So you can get your 5-up invul 2 rounds in a row if you really want to.
If you really want to, yeah.
That's pretty cool. So a 5-up invul across your whole army is a pretty strong.
As long as they're in Synapse, is pretty good.
Synapse, okay.
You have to be within Synapse, but again, that's kind of the whole point with the Synaptic Nexus. You want to run a lot of Synapse. You want to have those pockets of zone tropes, those warriors scattered around, so you can actually give that out to everybody.
Cool. Any particular stratagems or enhancements that really draw that out of the army?
That big stratagem for me is Override Instincts.
Override Instincts.
One command point, just being able to bring back and recycle one of those abilities in future rounds, really helpful.
Allows you to be really dynamic with how you use that rule to get an advantage on your foe. So I'm going to talk about, I think, one of the most competitive, possibly, versions of how to play Tyranids, which would be the Unending Swarm. Now this is a super classic way to play Tyranids, the carpet of bugs, all the little gribblies. And the little gribblies are pointed pretty competitively, so you can get a lot of them. Now we're talking multiple hundreds in a 2,000 point army.
Oh, it's terrifying. I can't imagine being on the other side of just a field of gaunts.
Oh, it just starts there. Then, what do you do against a field of gaunts? You start shooting them, right?
Yeah,
You got them. But as soon as you do, you shoot a gaunt unit in an unending swarm, they get to use their insurmountable broods rule.
Oh.
They get to move d6 inches towards you if they take any losses from a shooting attack, or any attack.
Now, does that mean that they get to end in
Engagement range?
Yeah.
Oh, it certainly does!
Oh no!
So basically, if you start shooting at these big Hormigaunt units, they're gonna start pouring towards you. And
And if they're too close, you don't, like, it makes it really scary because now all of a sudden you're like, I know you're gonna come at me and charge me, but I also want to shoot you. If I shoot you, you're gonna end up in my face anyways.
And these armies are going to have objective control stats in the 500 plus area. You know, like so
It's wild.
So you may be able to kill them all, but they're going to flood the map and score all the primary points for at least the first few rounds, and it might be really, really hard to actually overcome that with almost whatever you put down. You might have to really do a lot of DACA to make this.
And not to mention being able to bring some of those units back
To recycle, because that's how Unending Swarm works.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I believe there is a 2 CP stratagem to.
Yep, there is indeed. What do they call it? They call it swarming masses, I believe. Nope.
Unending
That's
waves.
something else. Unending waves, teaming. All of their stratagems, all of them, only work on endless multitude units. So
So
you're
these
really
are your Termagants, your Hormagaunts, I believe your
Gargoyles.
Gargoyles.
That's it.
I think the Neurogons.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. Neurogons count too.
Neurogons as well.
Yeah. So that's going to be a lot of little.
There's a lot of little bugs.
And you can get 11 Neurogons for 45 points.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
Really cheap.
So that's a lot of models. A lot of models. So that's going to be a really interesting thing to see for players who want to specialize in huge carpets of infantry.
Just those waves of bugs.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a very difficult thing to play into. It might be more of a specialist thing for competitive play. This might not be something that is totally fun to play against, especially if you're not really sure what to do, because that's a lot of models to move. That game might take a little while.
It's definitely going to take practice, and it's definitely going to take a bit of time to get used to moving that many models. Movement trays.
Not to mention painting.
The painting's not hard.
Okay, well, that's what movement says.
I have a problem with painting 40 gaunts at a time, and I'll just sit there and just paint in an assembly line.
Right. The enhancement that stood out for the Unending Swarm is Adrenalized Onslaught. It's a way they can get an extra 3 inches on their pile-ins. It just means that you can really, really put the boots to the enemy once you get into them. Huge swarms of models just encircling your units, forcing them to never leave.
Yep.
Fight nothing but little gribblies.
All the gribblies.
All the gribblies.
All the time.
So those are some really fun ways to play that have been brought to you by this book. There is one more. The what is it? The Assimilation Swarm has to do with regenerating units.
So you use your harvester units, so things like the Harspecs, the Ripper Swarms, models that in lore and fluff have been known to just go onto the field and just go nom nom.
They're meant to pre-digest the biomass for turning into probably more Tyranid bioships.
More Tyranids. Yeah, the Detachment reflects that really well, where every time your harvester models dom other models, you get to either heal or bring back more bugs.
So that can be a really interesting one to play against. The one part about it I don't like is it really only comes up if your foe damages something but doesn't kill it. So smart enemies can just play right around your detachment rule, which is a tough place for it to be. It can be really oppressive to a newer player who doesn't understand what's happening and really not come up at all against an experienced player who just doesn't touch you unless he wants to kill you.
Yeah. So, only other drawback that I really saw is there wasn't really a lot in the codex that I found in terms of harvester units.
It's pretty rare.
So you're really working with select models, and you really have to protect and use those models right. Pyrovores, Harspecs, and Ripper Swarms were the 3 that caught my attention.
Jumped out, I can't think of another one off the top of my head. So it might be something to pour through this book to find
And
that getting harvested.
maybe you find something. Maybe you see something that we miss.
Now, what we've all been here waiting for, which is the brand new units.
Of course.
We've got
the Norn Emissary.
Yep.
We've got the Norn Assimilator.
Yep.
And we have the Neurolictor.
the Neurolictor.
Right? Fantastic new models, fantastic new units. The Norn is just so cool.
It's a beast.
It's a monster.
Yes.
It's literally a monster.
It's quite an actual monster. It's got little claws and tentacles coming out of all sorts of places.
One thing I will say, and I've noticed this with a lot of the new sculpts, because those are the 2 new data sheets we've gotten,
Yep.
but we've also gotten new models for the Lictors,
Right.
the Gene Stealers,
Yep.
the Hormigons.
Yep.
I have to touch on the Hormigons because I just brought them up. Their new posing is absolutely fantastic.
Stunning. Yeah.
As someone who's collected a lot of Gaunts and Tyranids, one of my biggest grievances with the old Gaunt sculpts was the minute you touch them, they tipped over.
Yeah, now these are
nice, well-balanced, but also nice dynamic poses.
Very.
They actually kind of remind me of the Raptors from Jurassic Park.
everyone I've talked to says
Yeah.
the same thing.
They really do. Like, there's some that have, like, they even have, like, that little pose, like they're running through the forest.
Nice.
Fantastic, love it.
Yeah.
But one thing I did notice with a lot of the newer sculpts, including some of the ones we got from Leviathan, they're really embracing this eldritch horror from space. There's all the tentacles and very Cthulhu-esque vibes, and I
a
love
little
it.
mind flayer.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. The new sort of paradigm of that Cthulian sort of eldritch horror thing is a lot of fun to bring to 40K.
But you know what? That's what the Tyranids are.
They
are
are.
this horror in space that is just moving through, devouring everything.
Existential threat #1.
Yes.
So, right into it, the Norns. So there's 2 Norns, there's the Assimilator, and there is the Emissary. So we've got an Assimilator here. His big thing is he's got harpoon guns, and they allow him to charge vehicles and monsters easier, and they do a lot of damage.
Yeah. So the way I've seen it is, if you look at the Norn Emissary, it's kind of an all-purpose unit. It's good to hold objectives. It's good to just deal with just about anything that it comes up against, and it's pretty sturdy, pretty durable. The Assimilator, on the other hand, if you're playing against that pesky little
Killer.
guard or knight player where they've got a lot of big vehicles and monsters,
He
he's
might
the
be
guy.
your guy, yeah. He might
Yeah,
be your guy.
he's going to come in and he's just going to tear it apart.
Now, there's nothing to say that you can't have both.
Absolutely, you can run 3 of each, and it's great. And I might just do it one day.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I had a blast playing with this particular model, and I was. They have a really fun rule where they get to pick what they are going to be up to for the game. So the Norns both have singular purpose. So this is a special rule that allows them to pick an ability before the game. You either get to pick a unit to reroll everything against because you're upset, except for damage, I believe.
So it's kind of like your own personal oath of moment against a single target.
Absolutely.
Forever.
You're very upset against him.
I could see that happening.
The other
Like,
one,
that night, right there. Don't like him.
the other one is my favorite. You pick an objective. While you're in range of this objective,
Okay, so I don't have to control it. I just have to be
you
there.
just have to be next to it, near it, 3 inches. You get a 5-up Feel No Pain, and your objective control moves from 5 to 15.
Excuse me?
15!
I
It's mine!
don't think I've seen anything with 15 yet.
See? Yeah,
I think the
that's a good
craziest
call
thing I've seen is like the 9 on the new Biologist or whatever it is for the Space Marines. If you bonk something,
And a 5-up Feel No Pain really extends his 16 wounds deep into the 11 toughness. This is a critter, once you get him to where he wants to go, you might want to sit there. So I think 1 is really good for getting to that objective that's in there because the Assimilator actually doesn't come with a invulnerable
save,
save.
yeah.
But the Emissary does. So the Emissary is a little less hitty, but has a longer range gun and comes with a 4-up invulnerable save
Yeah.
and a 4-up Feel No Pain against mortal wounds.
Oh.
Meaning that that beast could sit on a middle objective for the
is
game.
it Mortal Wounds or is it against Psychic? I just want to double check.
Wrong. Feel No Pain against mortal wounds.
Okay, just want to make sure. Yep.
So that's basically the Norns. Big,
Yep.
mean, gribbly. They're pretty expensive, but they are gonna get happy on the tabletop.
They do what they do best.
The next new unit is the Neurolictor. He's a little gribbly.
He's a fun little guy.
Yeah, he's a fun little guy. He forces battle shock tests and makes units that are battle shocked near him worse. They make them they were worse to hit. They're easier to wound while within a foot of the Neurolictor. So
Very nice.
if you can combine Death Leaper,
Also does horrific things with battle shock.
that's right.
Yep, he's a terrifying monster after all.
Right. Then the Neurolictor it's all together. You can make some really nice battle shocky goodness happen and lean into the shadow of the warp to make your foes have to fall back before you. Other than that, most of the data sheets stayed the same. There's been some minor tweaks.
Yeah, I know we've got one of the models that did get a couple changes, the good old Tyranifex.
Oh, you're talking about the Tyranifex first? Okay, Tyranifex first. Yeah, he got a change to his defensive capabilities. He does not get -1 incoming damage anymore. Very sad. He only gets to switch one incoming attack in the battle to 0 damage, which is kind of handy.
Is it per battle or per turn?
Once per battle. But if it was once per turn, that would be
even once per battle round is a lot.
They're tough enough already.
Yeah.
The
you
other
know
change,
what? Being able to take that las cannon, melta, whatever big angry gun, volcano cannon being shot at you and be like, I don't want to take it anymore. Just, you can keep it. Turn it to 0. I like it.
it's very, very powerful, especially on such a big model. When those big damage comes in, you can take those like huge damage weapons and just be like, I don't.
I don't. Just, no.
Psychic Imperative. You
still have a 5-up invul too, yeah.
And there's lots of ways that
There's
you can actually.
so many fun new combinations out there, for sure.
2 other data sheet changes. The Lictor lost his invul save. Not so sure about that. And the Biovore. Actually, this is another awesome new model.
Yes.
Very, very cool. This Biovore, a lot of his basic stats got changed. He got tougher and meaner. And same gun, same special rules. He still can shoot spore mines.
You can either shoot you or just throw spore mines across the map.
But now he's like tougher and cheaper. Let's see how that goes. So actually, that's another thing. The points have come down across the board.
Nothing drastic.
Nothing drastic.
I've seen a lot
of 5-point savings around here. I think there was one thing that went up in points that we noticed.
Yeah, I think it was like the Barbagons.
Barbagons went up by 5 points for 5 of them.
Now, mind you, this is with the Codex release. Of course, that's pending any sort of data slate changes or updates that come along.
And I think we're understanding there might be changes within weeks, so we'll find out.
We'll find out.
But we're very excited about everything we've seen.
Everything Tyranids.
Everything Tyranid is good. Everything buggy is wonderful. It even smells good.
Still got that fresh new book smell.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, any last thoughts about how you feel about the brand new Tyranid Codex for 10th edition?
For anyone that's just new and interested in getting into Tyranids, there literally could not be a better time.
Yeah.
This
is an amazing piece of literature for those fans of the bugs out there who really enjoy them for what they are. You know, the existential, brain-eating.
You know what? That's one thing I will touch on is I actually took a little bit of time and perused through the fluffy bit at the front because, you know, we all have a tendency to jump to the rules. But I actually thought it was interesting because this time they actually added a couple stories, a couple excerpts from like the human point of views, from like guardsmen or just like regular humans on cities or planets that are getting invaded by Tyranids. It offers a fresh new perspective, and it's really fun to read.
That's awesome. Well, I love it. It's great. 2 big thumbs up from me. This is the kind of book we need to have really fun, amazing games of Warhammer. I can't wait to see more.
If this
6 big detachments to choose from.
Yeah, and if this is what they're giving us with all the future codexes as well, this is going to be one heck of an addition.
Stay tuned. This is a great way for 10th edition to come into the new era and solidify itself as a fantastic way to play Warhammer.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you next time in the grim dark of a far-flung future.
Play on.